second. Okay, we are live. All right, are we seeing, can we give a thumbs up if we're seeing the slides for today? Are we good?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And so just general housekeeping. If this is your first time with us, you will know, or we will share this information every time. This is our last Be Ready to Buzz, which makes me really sad, but also lets us know that we are getting that much closer to the beginning of the school year, which is really exciting. And we have a really special topic for you all today to help with those transitions of starting that first quarter at SCAD. So just some reminders, this is recorded. The sessions will be posted to the YouTube channel following the session. And you can please be active in the chat. We love how active you all have been. And so if you have questions, please put them in the chat, or if you want to answer the questions from our presenters, use that chat and really connect with each other. All right. And each presenter will have some time for Q&A after their section. And so just know that there will be time for you to ask some questions. Okay. So we are so glad to have you all back. The workshop we're covering today is on coping with transitions. And also we're going to talk a little bit about the mental health resources at SCAD and all about the lovely word we love to hear, self-care, and different ways to find a self-care routine that really works for you. So we have Dr. Moss, who is our Director of Counseling and Student Support Services in Atlanta. Yay, Dr. Moss. Thanks for joining us. And then later on, we will have Chloe, who is a mental health counselor and also does a lot of our outreach coordination for the Office of Mental Health Counseling here in Savannah. So just kind of a little bit about what we're doing today. You're going to learn some ways to positively cope with transitions. We can maybe talk a little bit about our fears and concerns about transitioning to SCAD, and you're going to identify the different mental health resources to help you with these transitions and once you get on campus. As mentioned, we have Dr. Moss, who's going to start us off, and then Chloe's going to tag in after that, and I will wrap us up at the end since this is our very last session. So we already went over this today. We shared our comfort items. And so like I said, if there's anything, that you wanted to share that's in comfort or sensory item for you, please do. We would love to hear what you all use to help really feel, decompressed and feel supported. Cool. All right. Also, a reminder, you're going to see this again later, is that we do have everything recorded. We'll go into our YouTube channel. So there's the QR code for that. You can also literally just Google SCAD Disability Resources YouTube. It'll take you right there. And then we have an Instagram as well that we keep very active on, and any type of new announcements or updates are added to the Instagram. So without further ado, I am going to hand this off to Dr. Moss. Oops, I think you're muted.
Well, I'm still muted. Well, not anymore. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here, and I know we have a lot to cover in a short period of time. And so I'm going to get started. As we talk about coping with transitions, I should share my screen. Thank you, AJ, for the wave. All right, we're going to share this screen. And then, wait, that's the wrong one. Let's try this again. There we are. And we're going to go in presentation mode. All right, so as I said, we have a lot that we got to cover today. So we're just going to get right into it. Here's what I want you all to begin to think about. What are you, and you can put it in the chat so that we can, or take yourself off of mute. What are you excited about or even nervous about as you prepare for fall 24? What are you excited or nervous about? And y'all got to help me because I can't see the chat.
I got you.
Thank-
I'm excited for classes,
Oh, yay.
just nervous in general.
Mhm.
I think they're still coming in here. Navigating the SCAD system is a bit
Ooh.
nerve-wracking.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, now they're coming in. Okay, I'm excited to go to college at an art school. Nervous about roommates. Oh my, now they're moving way
Oh,
too fast.
yes.
Really hyped to become a professional. Love that, AJ. I'm nervous about making friends and finding classes. Nervous about understanding the SCAD system. Nervous about getting lost. I totally
Oh,
understand that. I'm just kind of,
absolutely.
ooh, new environments. Oh, declaring a major,
Mm.
roommates, classes. Excited about joining the art community. Nervous, yeah, about the costs of being in college. Like I
Oh,
absolutely get
that is a big
that's a
one.
huge one. Yeah. Going to college with people who love art, nervous
Mm.
about getting lost. Oh yeah.
So here's the thing. I hear a lot of themes, and a part of why we do Be Ready to Buzz is so that we can create this community. And so that you'll see a lot of names, and there are people that you've been seeing throughout this time that we've been meeting these last 5 weeks. And if you all have signed up for Jumpstart, you'll get a chance to connect with some of these, students when you get to campus. And so that part about being nervous, I want to normalize that for you because we didn't hear it once, we didn't even hear it twice. We heard it several times, and it's actually okay because this is a new journey, right? It's something new. It is something that can be very exciting for us all as we're preparing to do something new. So good. Thank y'all so much for answering that. One thing that I do want you to also think about is as you're preparing for this time, there have been other times that you've experienced some new things, but what has been helpful to you in the past when you've been dealing with the transition? So maybe was the transition from middle school to high school, or maybe it was the transition from, living in one city to another, or moving from one house to, another one. What has been helpful for you before that? We talked about these comfort items, but what has been helpful for you before when you've had to deal with a transition or with a change? Anybody?
They're still coming in here. Having a good or outline schedule, knowing how to prepare,
Absolutely.
researching about the school. So doing some research. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm. Reading a lot of comic books. Ah,
Absolutely. You got to take your mind away from some of these
mhm.
things. But here's
Therapy. Mhm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love these that are coming in. Here's the thing with all of what you're saying and all that's coming in, y'all are already ahead of the game. And even already in some of my slides, because in a few slides, you'll already see that we're going to talk about doing some of that research ahead of time, knowing a little more about yourself and what is helpful so that as you make this transition here, yes, to this arts community, to this new environment, this new city, right? That you'll be able to create whatever that plan is for you, even if it includes working with a counselor. Okay. And so knowing what those resources are, we've spent the last few weeks introducing you to a lot of different resources here at SCAD. And so you already know that when I'm going through a change, a transition, I need to put some things in place. But we also want to recognize that some things that have not been helpful, or there are some things that we can take from our past into our present or even into our future. And that's okay. All right. So some of the things that I do want us to keep in mind is that change is the only constant, meaning that's the only thing that's going to be here consistently. And it can sometimes be challenging. Yes, when you're thinking about getting lost in Savannah or getting, lost in Atlanta, because these are bigger places, absolutely. It can be challenging, but it can also be rewarding because you are starting this new journey. It can also be emotional. I don't know about any of you, but when I was moving here to Atlanta, it did bring up some emotions for me. Now, emotions are not always bad because an emotion can be joy, right? And so very, very joyful and happy about being able to start this new chapter in my life. And for you all, leaving high school and coming into college or even transferring from one place to another, but it can also be cleansing. I get to start afresh. I get to create some new friend circles. I get to create this new set of work. Here's some things that I've done before, but I'm leaving that behind and I'm starting afresh. I'm starting anew and I get to breathe. So as you prepare these next few weeks, as you begin to pack and think about all the things that you get to bring, or even about your roommates that you're going to be living with, begin to think about, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? In the midst of it being challenging, can I also remember that it's going to be rewarding when I've done that first quarter and then I've moved on to that second and that third, and then I've finished an entire year, right? And being able to feel all the feels, the joys, the sadness, all of it, the anxiety. Again, we're not taking any of that away from you. And it's, how can I be present with all of these things in this moment as I begin to transition to this different part of my life? Some of what we can do, y'all talked about having things in place. We can begin to journal our thoughts and our feelings. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes writing can absolutely be helpful. And I keep a journal on my phone, because that's one of the things that I keep with me, and it goes so many different places with me versus a book. But if you're in your room, that's okay if you have a book that you want to journal in. But as you also prepare, I want you to think about values, the things that are important to you. What are some goals that I want to set for myself as I begin to prepare for my life at SCAD? Creating that to-do list. Maybe it's, like, do I have my comfort item packed with me so that I can use it? Did I already talk to my roommates about, like, well, who's going to bring the shower curtain? Or who's going to rent the micro fridge? Or who's going to bring, like, what color we're going to make the bathroom in terms of the rugs that we're going to put down there? Or have I already begun to think about the art supplies that I do want to purchase? Whatever that to-do list is, being able to create it, because sometimes when we have that plan in place, that can help us check off some things and help us to feel a lot more accomplished. Like, okay, well, I know that I did this. I know that I did this. This is what I have left to do, so that I'm not scrounging around or scrambling, trying to remember all of the things that I have to do. We get to plan and map out that transition. So we might be preparing for Jumpstart, and we might be preparing for SCAD bound sessions, and we might be preparing even in our family life to take that one last, little mini vacation or whatever that looks like. But in order for us to be able to properly prepare, maybe we plan it out, maybe we map it out so that we know what we have to do within the next 4 weeks, and then within the next 3 weeks, and then the next 2 weeks, and then the next week. Whatever that looks like, being able to write it out so that you are less anxious about what you have to experience. As we think about, even the transition, one of the things that Caitlin mentioned early on as we started today is about self-care. And that's going to be very, very important. And I created this one, but of course, I'm sure that there are some other examples of how you take care of yourself. And if you want to, go ahead and jot that down and put it in the chat. What are some ways that you take care of yourself? Or if one of these things jumps out at you saying, yep, I like to do that, it could be listening to music or doing more craft projects or even doing like a mindfulness meditation. I know both here in Atlanta as well as in Savannah, the Office of Mental Health offers meditations for our students. It could be any of those things, or even just as a student having access to the gym to do some exercise. How do you take care of you?
We have one person who has said painting,
Ooh,
walking or running, so outdoor exercise, drawing, listening to music, writing out my worries,
ooh, I like
working out, reading, yoga, origami.
that. Caitlin was trying to teach me how to do that one. I
Well,
still am not up to speed, but that's
origami is not self-care for me. It is the opposite of self-care.
so. What about a social media detox, y'all?
Ooh, we've got
It's small on here, but what about that one? Because sometimes we can just get so lost in all of the things, and sometimes we may need that. But whatever it is for you, whether it is listening to music or painting or, creating origami or, you know, maybe taking a nap, whatever that is, I want you to begin to think about that because during this time period, it's going to be so much more helpful to you to already have some things that you can go to. But also, maybe there's something that you heard that somebody else wrote in the chat or that you see on this list that you may want to try. Maybe I've not tried it before, but I want to try it. And so jot that down so that you can begin to think, how can I begin to put that in place as I take care of myself? One that's down at the bottom, asking for help. Because I want y'all to know that in the Office of Disability, as well as in the Office of Mental Health, and just really here at SCAD in general, we want you to know that we are here to support you. And that is a part of your journey at SCAD, but also ours, right? Taking care of yourself means I don't have to do it by myself all the time either. And that's okay. So being able to ask for help as a way of taking care of yourself. But what I just brought in is sometimes we have to be able to use our support systems, right? And that can be, I like to call it family, where it's your family as well as your friends, because sometimes family is not always blood, right? So there are times where your friends can become so much closer and that you share so much with them when you're going through the good times and the not so good times, the ups and the downs, but also knowing that again, Office of Disability Resources and Office of Clinical Mental Health and even some of your professors are there to support you as you transition to SCAD. And not even just in the transition, but while you're at SCAD in general for the next 4 years, or if you decide to go on and get a master's or, or however long your time is here, know that these are just some examples of support systems that can help you through this transition that you are experiencing now. And then, as we've been talking about making a plan, writing things down, taking care of ourselves, or even our support systems, we got to embrace goal setting. And one of the things that we like to use here is those SMART goals. And this is not new because I know, I feel like we had this in week 2, but if it's not week 2, maybe week 3. But I know that we've had it, but bringing it back because all that we've done so far, all that we've covered is really to help us build on and build on and build on so that we can use it. So as we embrace our goal setting, it really is about thinking about what's specific, what's measurable, what's attainable, what's realistic, what's timely. I know that I only have, this amount of time before the quarter starts. What can I get done? What do I need to get done specifically? How many suitcases am I packing, right? What is my time frame for getting it done? Is it attainable? Is it realistic? Is it timely? I know that I want to go out with my friends before, I leave for school. How can we schedule the time, get it in there so that this goal of mine of spending time with my family, spending time with my friends can actually be done. So being able to embrace that, but also knowing that it's not just about the time before you get to SCAD, but even when you are here, that goal setting is going to be very important for you so that you are able to do all the things that you need to do in the 3 or 4 classes that you are going to take. Okay. Then, of course, establishing a routine. And this is how we put it all into practice, right? And it could be in the mornings. I know that I just need to spend some time doing, a yoga practice or doing a meditation, or maybe it is that I want to have a cup of coffee, right? Or I just really want to play. If I have an emotional support animal, I just really need to have, time with my animal in the morning before I start my day. Or maybe it is taking that shower. Or maybe I'm not so much a morning person, but what is the ritual that I need to put into practice in the evenings to help me wind down or to get the work done? And that can again move us into how much time do I need on academics, my homework, or my projects? How much time do I need during the week to embrace taking care of me? Because there's this saying that we can't pour from an empty cup, and it is so much harder to be all that we can be when we haven't been taking care of ourselves, when we are depleted, right? And then how do I engage my support systems? When do I know, like, okay, I need to call my family and talk to them through what is going on? When do I need to call on my friends? When do I need to take a moment, right, to meet with my accommodation specialist? Because I need the extra support. And we have built-in support appointments or extended support appointments. Absolutely. Engaging in all of these things and remembering all of these things so that you're not alone as you're establishing these routines, and you're not alone in this transition and this time that you're acclimating yourself to SCAD. And so the final thing that I want us to talk about, because I do want to give a few minutes for questions, but also give Chloe some time to tell you about one particular part of this support system, is we get to focus on the positive. There's going to be a lot of things that come your way. There are going to be a lot of challenges that may show up. Uh, but in the midst of that, I wonder if we can find something that is going well, something that we did well, something that somebody said to us that was positive, that was a word of encouragement. Or how can I encourage myself, affirm myself? And maybe it's saying something like, I can do this, or, looking in the mirror and say, you got this, you know, or whatever that positive encouragement is, so that you are able to make it, right? And again, remembering those support systems, because you are not alone here at SCAD. All of the people, all of the offices that have met with us these last 5 weeks, we are here to support. Absolutely, you have the Office of Disability to support you and the Office of Mental Health. So I know that's a lot of information that we just went through as we're talking about what are some ways I can make it through these next few weeks, right? And even this first quarter. What are some things that you are thinking about, or even some questions that you have um, based on anything that I've shared with y'all so far today?
Any questions for Dr. Mott? You're getting some thumbs up. That's what you're getting.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, if you do have questions, contact information is on the screen, okay? If you think of anything afterwards, definitely here for you. But that's all I have for y'all today. And I really thank you, and I look forward to being able to support you however I can for those of you who are going to be here in Atlanta. But even if, you know, I make my way to Savannah, or, you know, just like, and you see me, just say, hey, I remember you from. All right. Thank y'all so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moss. Thank you. All right, we have Chloe coming on next. Let's see, where did Chloe go? Oops, there she is. Hold on one, there we go. Hey, Chloe, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna add you as a spotlight real quick. All right, so Chloe is going to share her screen and talk to us a little bit about the Office of Mental Health and continue that conversation on self-care. So thank you again, Dr. Moss, for all that wonderful information.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Chloe. I'm one of our mental health therapists here in the Savannah campus. If you give me a moment to start the presentation, apologies in advance. I'm not the best with technology. So let me go. I've had this set up from our current slide. Yeah, but I'm really excited to be here today. And as Dr. Moss said, ooh, okay, let me say don't send. Okay. As mentioned, we are a support, and I apologize. I don't know why I keep getting that on. I see that or not. I guess let me just send this to Zoom. Okay.
We are seeing your slides, Chloe, but where'd we go? But they were, yes, we saw your slides, but not quite in the presentation mode.
Okay, apologies. Let me try one more time and see if this will go the right way. It kept saying Zoom's quitting.
Oh,
unexpectedly. Okay, is this better?
yes, that's perfect.
Okay, yay. Sorry everyone about that. We'll hop in case anyone didn't hear. As I mentioned, my name is Chloe. I'm one of our mental health therapists here in the Savannah campus, and I'm so excited to be speaking to you all. As I go through the slides, if you have any questions or any thoughts you want to hop into the chat, please do feel free to do that. I'll leave some time at the end as well for questions, but if something comes to mind, don't hesitate to drop that in. Okay. And so today we are going to be talking about the Office of Mental Health. So if anyone wants to just start off right away, hopping into the chat and just write in, when you hear mental health, what are some words, what are some phrases or ideas that come to mind?
And Chloe, you probably can't see the chat, so I will tell
Yes.
you what happens in the chat.
Yes, thank you.
All right, y'all. So let's help Chloe out. And what kind of words do you think about, or what do you think of when you think of the word mental health? Emotional, mentally.
Okay.
Let's see. I know you all got more than that.
Yeah, our emotions are a big part of it.
Struggles with emotions.
Okay.
Anxiety, stress.
Okay, great.
Cognitive therapy.
Types of
Coping
therapy.
strategies. All right, thank you all.
All right, yeah, those are some great write-ins. Absolutely, I think everyone is in the right direction. Yeah, our mental health, a lot of times we think of our emotions, we think of our well-being. Sometimes it's our ability to communicate, connect with ourselves, connect with others. Someone mentioned a type of therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is great. And I love it. Someone put in there, this idea maybe struggling, but in actuality, it's important to keep in mind that we all have mental health. Just like we all have a physical health, it's something that for some reason we talk about more often when it seems to not be going as well. But it is something that every day we all have mental health and we need to foster and grow that. And that's really what our office is about, is just supporting your mental health and your well-being. And so I will, go over some of the services we offer to that end. Again, please feel free to hop in with any questions as we go through. Okay, so probably one of the more popular services we offer is our individual counseling. And actually, before I go in this, I forgot to mention earlier, I just want to keep in mind that, again, as we're talking about mental health, it might not seem like it's a resource that you are needing right now or immediately, but please know that the majority of SCAD students throughout either their 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years into grad school, at some point in time do access our services. So we are a highly utilized center. And please know as well that just nationally, 1 in 4 US adults older than 18 will experience a mental health condition at some point in their lives. So please know it's very normal to need some extra support. And again, that's what our office is here for. I would probably be more surprised if you make it through your whole SCAD career without ever, interacting with us once. And again, that's not a negative thing; that's a positive thing, because we're here to provide support. And so, probably our most popular service is our individual counseling. And just like the name implies, that means you working one-on-one with one of our staff clinicians. We have a really great team currently here in Savannah and Atlanta. So someone typed in CBT. If you were looking for a certain treatment modality, you can certainly express that, and we can do our best to connect you with one of our mental health therapists who might have experience in that if that's what you're looking for. Now, our sessions typically focus on goals. So we use an approach called goal-focused counseling, which, just like the name implies, just means that we pick anywhere from around 3 to 4 smaller level goals. And we use those goals to help guide our work together to ensure that we're making progress. And it helps us know when it's time to terminate therapy. Typically, we're able to meet with students every other week. Most students find that that works with their schedule. For some reason, if it doesn't work with yours, you can always have a conversation with one of our therapists about that. Some of the biggest, reasons people are seeking individual therapy through our office is anxiety is a big one. I'm sure everyone is feeling some level of anxiety and stress about making a move to college in Savannah or Atlanta, living with other people outside of family for the first time. So these are very common reasons that people come to see us, along with homesickness, stress. Relationships is another big one. A lot of people have their first romantic relationships when they're in college, and that can be really stressful. So we're here to help provide support with that. And an important, reminder for you all is just that our services are free. So they are included in your tuition. You don't have to pay anything additional to speak with one of our mental health therapists, as well as they're confidential. So we don't share any of the information that's discussed in these sessions with anyone from your personal life, whether that be your parents or guardians, your roommates. And we certainly, never share any of this information with anyone from SCAD, whether that be, your professors, your student success advisor, your resident director, if you're living on campus. Also, I know I've had some students who get concerned it's not going to show up anywhere in your SCAD transcript or through MySCAD that you're accessing services through our office. All of that stays in-house. And again, if you ever had any questions or concerns about that, you could always speak with us in a little bit more detail about that. Now, in addition to individual, we also offer group counseling, which is pretty popular as well. Our group sessions typically run about 7 per quarter. Just as we know everyone's getting adjusted, we typically start in week 2 and we'll end in week 9. And depending on the group, it could be anywhere from 3 to 8 other students in the group. And it is led by one or two of our staff clinicians. Our groups are really focused on just providing a supportive environment. Some of our groups are more process oriented and some of them are more skills based. Again, they're also free and they're confidential as well. Just to give you an idea of some of the groups that we'll be offering this quarter, one of our more popular ones is a group called Understanding Self and Others. And that's a group that's really meant to give you a greater sense of self, build self-awareness and insight, have a better understanding of the way, you approach your day-to-day with you, as well as trying to navigate some of the relationships in your life, whether those relationships be with romantic partners, with friends, with family members, with professors. That tends to be, again, a really nice group, and that's more on that process oriented side. Another group that I will be running this quarter is an anxiety coping skills group, which I don't know if we have any D&D fans here, but we actually run through a D&D campaign, and that's the main mode of our therapeutic intervention. And built in there, we focus on just developing skills for anxiety. That will be happening in the Savannah campus. We also run a Be Body Positive group, which, just like the name says, just focuses on increasing our positive approach to our bodies. It's meant to be a recovery group for those perhaps who've experienced eating disorders in the past. In Atlanta, they will be offering a RISE group for BIPOC students, and that's going to be a more supportive group as well. I can't see what's in the chat, but I see some messages are coming through. So if anyone has any questions
Excitement about D&D.
Okay.
Yep, lots of excitement about D&D and
Yay!
questions about
Well, I
what
will-
D&D is, which is Dungeons and Dragons. So, yep.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Caitlin, I'll give you my email, and if you are interested in joining the group, definitely send me a message, let me know. All of our groups as well, typically you'll have to meet with the clinician who's leading them just for a brief screening, just to go over the group to make sure it's a good fit. So again, you can contact either myself, or you can just reach out to our counseling email, which is on the screen, if any of these groups sound like they'd be of interest to you.
Hey, Chloe, real quick, there was a question in the chat to elaborate a little bit more on the understanding self and others group and what that's like.
Yeah, so that group is really neat. So again, that one tends to be a little bit larger. So typically there's about 8 students, and it is a group where you'll come and one person, or usually a couple people, are having a similar experience. It's kind of like open to the floor. So whoever is having something that is seeming pressing will bring that to the group. The group will process it together. The group will decide, okay, do we feel like we can move on to another topic or area? And then you go from there. Some of the big ones, I haven't run Understanding Self and Others, but I have sat in on a couple of the sessions. A lot of them are related to relationships, or like, I'm having a hard time making friends. How do I go about this? We had a lot of people, after COVID, feeling like, hey, like my social skills just don't feel like they're, where they used to be. I'm having a hard time approaching people. How do I handle this? Students might come in and say, I had a really difficult conversation with a parent. Like, I just need to get some perspective on it. And then you'll go from there. And the staff clinician will sort of guide and lead. But that group, what's really nice about it is it's really driven by the group members. So the group members come in and offer each other, sort of solution, advice, insight. And really, you're the ones who are deciding what you want to speak about in that session that day. Do you have any other questions about groups before I hop on?
No,
Okay.
but you got to thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So we also offer case management appointments for students, and these are sessions that typically are as needed. You will meet one-on-one with a staff clinician. They're more supportive and resource-based in nature. So say, you've been working, with a psychiatrist from home, and you're unsure whether you want to stay with that psychiatrist, you want to transfer to someone in Savannah, you need the name of a provider, you can meet with our case manager, and our case manager will help you find someone who's in your insurance network who you can continue care with, as well as, again, if you just have questions, is it better for me to establish care, to send medication, through parents, you can certainly meet with a case manager and talk through all those things, as well as, if you just need some additional resources, if you're having any kind of housing insecurity, food insecurity, financial insecurity, you can meet with our case manager and just talk through and learn about some resources that are available not only through SCAD, but just in the Savannah community. And same as the majority of our services, this is also, a free and confidential resource for you all. Okay, so how can you make an appointment? So making an appointment is relatively simple. You just contact our office. I have listed here, and I believe the slides will be shared for you. So if you don't keep the number in mind, no worries. You can give a call to the office or you can send an email. In that email or phone call, you'll just let our administrators know. We have two really great admins who are super sweet who will talk you through the process. And you'll just let them know what your availability is between classes and work. And they'll ask you some questions, just getting your ID, your phone number, and then you'll get set up to meet with one of our mental health therapists for something that is called an intake. So an intake is really just a time for your therapist to get to know you a little bit better, find out about what it is that you're experiencing that led you to make the appointment, get a sense of your mental health history. And then, as I mentioned earlier, since we do focus on goals, that'd be a time for you to talk through, what you wanted to work on in therapy and what you'd like those goals to be. From there, then you just get set up into our system, and then you can receive ongoing support, as I mentioned earlier, for individual counseling that's every 2 weeks, and you can go from there. I think I saw is there a question? I saw the chat go before.
Nope, we're just sharing information for where to get the slides and the contact information.
Okay, perfect, great. Yeah, just pipe in, Caitlin, if there's a question and I miss it.
Okay.
Yeah, but yep. So you just, again, it's really easy. You can give a call, send an email, and that's the quickest way. Now, if you are like me and you're not ever really super sure of your schedule and you feel like, ooh, I don't know if I can make it or not. I want to see, what the week's going to be like. I want to see if I can get my homework completed. Not a problem. At the Savannah campus, we have something called walk-ins, which is on Fridays between 1 to 4. It's at our Deloitte Foundry office, which is right near Chatham House. In case anyone is living there, it's accessible by bus line. And this is a no appointment needed. So you would meet with a therapist for an intake, just like if you called ahead and scheduled. In Atlanta, they're in that 1600 building, which is where all of your, support services mainly are. And this is just a way to get, again, into counseling if you're not really ever sure about your schedule, but you want to start. Again, the session will just focus on goals, connecting you to resources if that's needed, kind of talking through, what it is that you're seeking from our office. And then from there, you can get set up for either a more consistent routine, or if you're unsure, you can talk with your therapist about what would make sense for you for appointments moving forward. Typically, it is a first come, first serve. So there might be a little bit of a wait. It could be no wait to upwards of, like 15, I think 20 minutes is the longest we've ever had a wait. But that's just something to keep in mind if you're planning on coming. Certainly coming closer to that 1 o'clock time tends to be a little bit less busy for whatever reason. But it's just another option for you in case you're not sure about your schedule. Okay. Another service that our office provides is crisis intervention. So crisis intervention is here for you 24/7, 365 days a year. We know that things can get stressful. Life changes can happen pretty unexpectedly. So if you ever find yourself in a really heightened state of distress, if you're having thoughts about wanting to harm yourself, if you're having thoughts about wanting to harm others, you've had, a tragic accident, something major's happened in your family, and you need to speak with a mental health therapist right away, and you cannot wait for an appointment, you need something same day emergent, go ahead and give us a call at this 877-959-3620. And I have a photo here of your SCAD card. So it's really convenient because I know this number is going to be hard to remember. On the back of your SCAD card, if you zoom in, there's a number for SCAD security, and it has a number for the on-call counselor. Now, if you are in Atlanta, the number will be different. I apologize, I didn't put that in the slide, but the number on the back of your SCAD card, and if you did call this line, you would still get connected, is the quickest way to speak with a mental health therapist immediately. And again, you can call us at 10 a.m. Something happens at 2 a.m. You can go ahead and call us. Again, this line is just meant for mental health emergencies only. So if you are looking just to make an appointment, please call our main office line, just so that way we can, be available as much as is needed for people who are having emergencies. Typically, the way it works is, you'll hop on the phone and you'll speak with one of our triage therapists who are really sweet and amazing. And from there, they'll decide if, you need to come in right away, if you'll come in next day, if you'll be able to talk through things on the phone. But please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you are ever in a really heightened state of distress. We are absolutely here for support, and we would want you to contact us versus not. And one of the final services that we offer are outreach events. And our outreach events just focus on creative engagement with you all. So we'll have a couple of mental health therapists there, and typically our programs are offered to the entire campus population. So we'll have a number of students come. And these, are in a more public space. So versus, our therapeutic services that are private and confidential, we still keep these confidential, but they're typically held in more public spaces. They tend to be either one-off events or mini series, and they're really just designed for you to promote your mental, physical, and social well-being. If you're worried, about getting in some self-care time, this would be a great way to come. The photo there is from an event we did this past May for Mental Health Awareness Month, where we had a little campfire going and we made s'mores and we just chatted and kind of talked through some coping skills for moving out of the dorms and coping with finals. For those who are in Savannah, I would love to see you all. We're having an open house in our office over in Deloitte on that first Saturday, the 7th, between 11 and 1. This will be listed in the welcome programming, but definitely, stop by, say hello to us. We'll have we have Coastal Pet Therapy there. We'll have SCAD radio. You'll get to see our office. We're going to do a little interactive walkthrough. And we're very excited. Art the Bee will be there. So if you want some photo ops, please do come. We'll also be offering in Savannah a craft and chat series that will be held in Norris Hall. We'll give detailed instructions for where that is. So we'll be making eye pillows, we'll be making mala beads, and we'll also be doing stress balls. We might even add a couple more. At the end of our slides, I have our link to our social media and our website where you can follow us and just learn about some of the things we were doing. I know Dr. Moss mentioned earlier meditation. We have so many meditation offerings for you all, both in Savannah and Atlanta. In Savannah, we have meditations in Arnold Hall, which I imagine most of you will be walking through there. That will be on Mondays and Thursdays. And then we have in the SCAD Museum meditations on Fridays. And in Atlanta, they have meditations at SCAD Fit. I forget the day of the week. I want to say maybe it's a Wednesday. But again, if you follow us on social media, we'll have that all posted. And I do head up our outreach services, and I'm always interested in putting things on that you all are interested in. So please just write anything in the chat, send me an email or to our counseling email. Let me know of ideas of things that you would like to come to, support services you'd like to receive. And I love building that into our programming. So, please welcome any thoughts or suggestions. I'm always willing to hear. So where to find us? So if you are in Savannah, we have 3 different offices. Our main office is over at Deloitte. As I mentioned earlier, that's right across from the Chatham House residence. It's near Forsyth Park. If all of this is just like, this means nothing to me right now, don't worry. Soon enough, it will. And again, our admins are great. You can always call us on the phone. Most of the times when students are coming in for their first appointment, we give pretty detailed instructions. We'll tell you which bus line to take, where to hop off, how to walk in. I imagine most of you as incoming students are going to be over in the Hive area. So we do have an office at Turner House, which you just walk up the Turner Bridge. It's right under the Amigos Cafe, which tends to be pretty convenient for most first-year students, as well as we have an office on Victory Village, and that is near Monty. So any animation students, that might be an easier office for you. And Atlanta, they have that 1600 building, which, as I mentioned earlier, is where most of your support services are. So that won't be too difficult to find. And you're always welcome when you're making an appointment for those in Savannah. You can specify, hey, this is where I live. I'm over in the Hive. It'd be great if I could meet with a therapist at Turner. And we will do our best to honor that. And we have here, just if you all either want to take a scan now or again later when you have access to the slides. This is our link tree, which houses essentially all of our information. It will give you a link to our website. It will give you a link to our Instagram, which is where we tend to post, again, any outreach events we're offering, any groups we're offering for the quarter. It's just a way to get more information. You'll have on there our phone number, our emails, so you can reach out through here anytime you need. Okay. And so I know Dr. Moss mentioned earlier a little bit about self-care, so I won't go into super detail, but just a reminder that these are just some areas to focus on when it comes to self-care. A lot of times I think we just tend to focus where we think of like the physical care or the mental care, and those are great. But just keeping in mind it's important to also be social. I know it's going to be a difficult transition, probably balancing school time and social time, but do make it a priority to build connections with those around you. Focus on your spirituality. Make sure, I'm sure your intellectual will probably be like out maxed once you start classes, but just to focus on those as well as, entertainment, fun, enjoyment, because self-care, even though it's a really great practice, sometimes self-care doesn't always feel relaxing or soothing. So making sure that you're building that into your day to day as well is just a good reminder. And I have here, which again, you'll have access to in the slides if you want to take it and print it. It's just a little self-care plan. And I would encourage you all after today's session or before, your next week that you pick this up to just like jot down a couple of things for yourself as it relates like to your physical health, your emotional health, your professional, psychological things that you want to already be thinking about that maybe you can do. Not only now, but for, once you're here again, I know that things get exciting, things get busy, and for whatever reason the first thing that always seems to go is ourselves. So maybe just thinking of little things that are realistic. So like for physical health, I know like it would be great to exercise every day, but maybe if your schedule doesn't allow it, maybe it's, hey, I'm gonna intentionally go to a yoga class or go to the gym 1 day a week, and just start thinking about ways that you can kind of plan and build these self-care elements into your schedule already. And with that in mind, I just put together some suggestions for you based off of my experience in working with students. One of the biggest things that I tend to hear from you all is, I would love to do more self-care, or I love self-care, but I just don't have time. I'm too busy. So these are just some ideas of things that you could build in that are not time consuming. So when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed, like we hear meditations, a meditation doesn't have to be a 30-minute experience. Meditation could just be 5 minutes, putting one guided one on your phone, again, just as you wake up in the morning or right before you're going to go to bed. Another great practice I've had a lot of students use is taking intentional, mindful walks to class and work. So as you're, right, you have to get to class anyway. It's part of your plan. So using that time perhaps to either put on like soothing, relaxing music, going no technology, picking one of your 5 senses, maybe getting off at a stop that's a little bit further to give you an extra 5-10 minutes just to walk to ease into class or to ease outside of your day. Another easy way to build in some self-care times is during your meals, which please prioritize. Please take time for your meals. Don't work through them. But as you're doing it, that might be a way to work on some of that social element. Maybe it's inviting friends. Again, maybe that's a time where I choose not to focus on school. I choose not to answer the phone. I make a meal, or again, maybe it's taking a walk after the meal. Another easy thing to do that's really great for self-care is gratitude lists. And again, this doesn't have to be something that you sit down and spend, hours on. Again, you're going to be busy walking to class, walking to your studios. And as you're doing that, just kind of self-reflecting to yourself, like, okay, maybe these are some things I'm grateful for today. And it can be something, again, that's just done in those little pockets where you have a little bit of time. I put laughs on there. I think it's a great practice if you can to laugh every day. And again, it doesn't have to be time consuming. It could be, you're in between class, you're on the bus, put on a funny video, like just laugh and enjoy yourself for a couple of moments. So I put on here skincare routines, and this kind of also goes in line with, this might sound silly, but even brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth can be a mindful, meditative experience if you just slow down and just focus on what you're doing. Again, washing your face could be, what does this water feel like? What is the temperature today? What is the sensation that's going on for me? Again, just really kind of dialing down. And I know Dr. Moss mentioned this as well, but yeah, limits to phone time is great. Just taking, again, an intentional, doesn't have to be in a whole day thing, but maybe 10 minutes where I'm going to intentionally not look on my phone and just to be with yourself. Okay. And that's that's the wrap up. I'll just leave time for questions if we have time. I know we're just at 2, but if anyone has questions, please feel free to type those in.
There was one question for you, Chloe. It was an elaboration on the D&D group. It's getting a lot of buzz.
Yay, okay. So I'm really excited that we have some interested people. So the D&D group works very much like a campaign. So we will play through a campaign. The campaign we play through is The Lost Mines of Phandelver. If anyone here has played that before, don't worry, it will not be exactly the same. There's definite flair into it. And so in the campaign is just built in the therapeutic interventions. And so we start the group with a check-in question, which just helps us kind of connect what we're doing to our outside lives and gets us thinking about our characters and our personal development. Then we play through the campaign just like you normally would in D&D. And from there, at the end, we do a wrap up. And that same idea of, we just talk about what happened in the context of the game, where we want to see our characters grow and develop, and then how we can apply it to our outside lives. The characters that you play are a version of you. And we talk quite a bit about character creation, and that piece is a lot of where the therapeutics come in as well. If you have any additional questions, again, Caitlin will share my email with you. Please send me any and all interest. I'm so excited to have you all be here, and I'd love to have some of you in the D&D group as well. That'd be a lot of fun.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Chloe. And one person's wondering if that is a 5E for D&D.
For the dice, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just don't want to just hit. Yeah. Yes, 5E.
Cool. All right. So we'll get Chloe. Maybe I'm going to put one of our chat queens, Vanessa, or can somebody throw Chloe's email into the chat before I get started? But Chloe, thank you so much. That was such helpful information. So we really appreciate you joining us today. So thank you again. So finally, I've got, I'm going to wrap up Be Ready to Buzz a bit. Okay. So like I said, we are in our very last session of Be Ready to Buzz. And so we have covered a lot of topics over these past 5 weeks. If you've joined us for all 5 sessions, you're rock stars. Thank you so much. But if you watch the recordings, that's beautiful as well. We just really appreciate you all engaging with us. We've covered topics like accommodations 101, executive functioning, student success and advising, how to be tips for being a professional student, academic resources, and then of course today we covered coping with transition, self-care, and all things mental health resources at SCAD. You can see on the other side here, these were some of the really helpful resources that we covered throughout our 5 sessions. And so please don't forget to engage with these resources, to use things like peer tutoring, our academic and fine arts and math coaches, get all kind of wonderful information and stay on track with your degree planner and MySCAD. And so, and also, if the Office of Mental Health, like Chloe said as well, is always available for students. Just a little information for Savannah, or if you have other incoming Bs or whatnot who you think would be interested in going back and viewing these sessions, our Be Ready to Buzz registration is still open. So anybody that registers after the live sessions, we will give access to the YouTube channel, or just point people towards the YouTube channel. You're able to access information that way too. But if you are a Savannah campus incoming B, we do have an on-ground orientation program that is separate from Be Ready to Buzz. It is called Jumpstart. And so Jumpstart is on the Savannah campus only this year. The move-in for Jumpstart is on September 3rd. It is an on-ground program, and we offer it really seems like you all have enjoyed connecting with each other and sharing, common interests and characteristics and passions throughout our time and Be Ready to Buzz. And so if you want to do that and you want to do it in person, you can join Jumpstart, where we're doing a whole bunch of social events where you really get to know our team and other students who are connected with our office. You can see some of the programming is like we're doing a DJ social at the Hive, included with some lunch coupons for the Hive, movie screenings, a collaboration with SCAD Serve, our community service organization, and my personal favorite is the silent disco and pizza party. And so if you have signed up for Jumpstart, but you received a move-in that is not September 3rd, have no fear. That will be updated and you will receive information from housing. If you signed up for Jumpstart, you get that September 3rd move-in date. So you'll see that adjusted. Have no fear. All right. And then both campuses are doing walk-ins during Welcome Week. These are not a time to get all of your intake information done. Send us all your docs. That you should be doing separately with your accommodation specialist one-on-one. This is really a time to stop into our office, to say hello, to see our spaces, to look at our testing areas, to meet and greet the team, and just become familiar with our offices. And so you'll see that we have walk-ins Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of Welcome Week. So that's that first week before school starts. Those are from 9 to 5 p.m. And they're located in our office of our Counseling and Student Support Office of Disability Resources offices. So we hope to see you there or at Jumpstart. And then finally, I cannot leave you without giving you some reminders about accommodations. So here are just a few reminders. If you have already done your intake with your accommodation specialist and you spoke about accommodations and put some things in place for when you start in fall, know that those official accommodation letters will come out to students once you've been registered for classes. All right. If you're wondering where you're at in that process, you can reach out to your accommodation specialist. If you're like, who is that? I have no idea. What are you saying? You can reach out to disability@scad.edu. You do have to renew your accommodation, your academic accommodations each quarter here at SCAD, and we send out numerous reminders to renew those accommodations with steps on how to do that. And we will also be adding a video to the YouTube channel on how to renew those accommodations if you're more of a visual learner. Housing accommodations are renewed on a yearly basis, and you will get a whole bunch of information about that process. So it is so important to keep an eye out on your SCAD email. Housing signups happen around April, and so just know that there will be a time frame that you will have to renew those housing accommodations if you have them. To activate your accommodations, you do have to forward that letter that we send you to your professors. And so just know, just getting the letter does not activate your accommodations. You do have to email that letter to your professors. And once again, your accommodation specialist can speak all these things to you. This is just a reminder. We can help you along the way to get comfortable with the accommodations process. But I do ask that you please, once you receive that accommodation letter, read it in detail, please. And so that you know all about how your accommodations are implemented. All right, I really quickly am going to here, once again, I said you'd see it again, is a QR code for the YouTube channel and the Instagram. Also, the Office of Disability Resources has been really interested and really dedicated to planning, kind of like you heard with Office of Mental Health. We want to plan programming that you all really want to go to. We could totally plan programming that we think you might want to go to and that we think you might get a lot from, but then we're not you. We are not students at SCAD. So I'm going to open up a quick poll, and I've never done one of these, so bear with me. I'm going to open up a poll on Zoom. I'm going to launch it. And so we want to know what type of programming would you like to see us do in fall? What would help you connect with others and transition effectively to SCAD, especially if you've enjoyed these sessions? Like, what more can we do to really help y'all? And if you're listing other, I have no idea how to add a little blurb for others. So just if you're comfortable, either write in the chat what other suggestions you have outside of this, or you can direct message me. All right, so I'm going to try to launch this. May the odds be ever in my favor and see how this works. Cool. I think it is launched.
I'm able to see it. So
Woohoo! Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh, we're getting some. Are you all able to see the results live, or is that just me?
Yes, Caitlin, the
We can
results
see
are
it.
there. Yeah,
That's so cool. Okay. Wow, we're learning new things.
this is really
Um,
cool.
This is really cool. I give all the kudos to Megan, who helped
Thank you.
me do this. Thank you, Megan. Okay, so wow, you all want to see, I had a feeling the big thing, I had a
Social.
feeling social would be up there a lot. That's really neat. And so, yeah, if you have ideas for like social, any type of ideas, this is an open forum to like what you think would be really cool for us to collaborate and to host at SCAD. Oh, Kahoot and Jackbox. Yeah, we love that too. I have a lot of fun doing those things. Yeah, my family plays Jackbox games together and they get pretty competitive. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, so we're getting a lot of great feedback here. I'm just going to jot this down really quick. Those who are interested in community service, definitely once you get down here or to your respective SCAD location, check out SCAD Serve. All right. Okay. Great. Well, I appreciate you all engaging in that. I'm going to keep that open just in case people want to add more, since you can respond multiple times. Okay, so finally, you've got this. You can do this. We're going to help you along the way. You have all the amazing information about all these resources that are going to help you at SCAD. So please, please engage, with our office. Use the resources we've covered and be ready to buzz. Come see us, use your accommodations. Just if you need any assistance along the way, let us know. But it's been so great to get to know you all throughout these 5 sessions. We're going to work on some programming based on the feedback here. And we'll send out a schedule of programming once we get that all planned so that we can continue to connect going into your first quarter at SCAD. If you're here, if you're coming for SCAD bound at all to either of the various locations, we are doing walk-ins during that time as well. Once again, more for a meet and greet, to see our offices, to say hello in person, not for the whole intake process, but we'll be here. And so we look forward to meeting you whenever we meet you. And we just hope that you have a really great rest of your summer. Thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to having you all at SCAD. All right. Wonderful. Okay. I am going to end our last session of Be Ready to Buzz, and we hope that you have a great remainder of your summer. Bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yay.